What's up, guys? I'm Laura from Reading in Bed, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about The Stolen Bicycle by Ming-Yi, translated by Daryl Stirk. So this is the second book I read for the Man Booker International Prize, and I chose it because it has a local connection. Daryl Stirk is from Edmonton, and he went to the University of Alberta, which is where I went. He lives in Taiwan now, and that is where the author Wu Ming-Yi is from as well, and that's where the book is set. So rather than give you a full review, because there's a lot going on in this book, it's very complex and layered, I wanted to talk just a bit about format, because as you can see, I read this on my Kindle. I wrote a whole blog post about trying to read a prize from a different country and how the books can be difficult to find, and for you Canadians out there, I listed each of the long listed books and the best or cheapest way to get them. So in this case, the ebook was under $10 and the paper book was not available, so that's why I grabbed it. And if you followed me at all, you know that I'm an ebook advocate and an audiobook advocate. I don't really understand people who think that, you know, if it's an ebook or an audiobook, it doesn't count, or like there's something wrong with it. There's still words getting into your brain. I do understand that the brain processes things differently when you're reading from a screen, or certainly and particularly if you're listening to it on audio, there are differences in how your brain deals with it, but there's still just words. Like, to me, the words are the most important part, and it's always kind of like, I understand the arguments, but I don't quite get how, you know, something can be more important than the words. Anyway, so I have no problem with ebooks whatsoever. However, this book did give me pause because, well, here's the cover as we experienced it on the ebook. Now, if you've seen anyone with the paper copy of this book, you'll know that this illustration that we see on the front cover goes over to the spine and all the way to the back, and it's actually even more detailed and intricate as it wraps around the cover. So immediately I was like, oh, maybe I made a mistake. And then I found out that there are sections throughout called bike notes, and each of those has an illustrated picture of a different kind of bike, and the illustrations are done by the authors. Like, oh, and those are in here. I can show you one real quick, but you get the sense that they probably look a little more impressive on a paper copy, right? Just trying to find one for you. Not finding one with an illustration, but just, you know, some of the pages look like this and have some Chinese characters and stuff. So I was like, oh, you know, maybe I should have got the ebook. Maybe it would have been a better experience. And then just this morning, as I was preparing to talk about this book, I was trying to make use of some of the Kindle's features where you can go to different sections, jump around. I haven't really used the X-ray feature much. That, I think, allows you to scan for certain words or certain names. But what I want to get to... Yeah, okay. So when I read this book, you start on the title page, as you do with most ebooks, and then it jumps you right to chapter 1. But there was a whole section in this ebook called Front Matter that it skipped over, and just by jumping around now, I found it. So here's an illustrated parts of the bicycle, which, like, this is important in the book. And here is an illustrated timeline, 100 years in Taipei, which is also, like, really important to the book, and particularly if you're coming to it without much knowledge about Taiwan or Taipei, which, like, obviously I was, probably many of you would. And this is one of those books that uses a family history to sort of look at the larger picture of what's going on in a country. So, yeah, I was like, well, that would have been nice to know. Thanks a lot, Kindle, for assuming that I don't want to read that part of the book. I do. So yeah, I was feeling a little bad about my choice to get the ebook here, but then, I don't know, there's some pros to it as well. With this book in particular, as I mentioned, it's very complex, it's very layered, it's got like several frame narratives, and within those frames we have a narrator who I don't think we ever even learn his first name, mostly drawing stories out of other people. So there's frames and there's stories within stories, and they're often layered on top of each other such that, you know, we might be hearing about butterfly collages, which I didn't know that was a thing, but this was a thing in Taiwan where people would collect butterfly wings and paste them onto paper, kind of imitating great works of art. So like from a distance, you wouldn't be able to tell it was made of butterfly wings. It would just look very like diaphanous and cool, but up close you could see. So there's like a whole section about that, and it's like someone who the narrator is talking to, you know, recounting something that was told to them. Like there's at least 2 or 3 layers that's coming to before it gets to us, and that's like, it's often the case. We're often like reading someone's emails, or in one part the narrator is translating some documents that his friend's dad wrote during the war, and like, so there, it's never like just a straight story. There's always several layers, and sometimes I would get really lost in that, and I was like, oh, I wish I could like flip. And you can in ebooks, but I'm not very good at it. Like I wish I could flip and just remember why, like, why is this significant? Who is talking? And sometimes I was very frustrating in this book, and I even got a little stuck around the 25% point. But by the end, it came together so beautifully, and I was actually grateful that reading the ebook forced me to stick with that and not give in to the temptation to like always flip back and, you know, reorient myself. Like it made me just stay lost. And I think that was part of the point of the book, is to get lost in it. Because by the end, it really does come together. And I think that was more powerful because I was sort of forced to just go with it and not always be flipping around and trying to figure things out. So yeah, I mean, like I said, kind of conflicted on the ebook for this one, but overall it has been my favorite book of the long list so far, just because of like the technical excellence, I guess I would say, like the complexity that was pulled off so well, despite like kind of a rough go sort of in the first quarter. Once you just like give in and go with it, it's really powerful and it works really well. I also wanted to mention that yeah, it did let me read the end notes. There's some end notes from both the author and the translator. Didn't skip those in the ebook, thankfully, because I found out that Ming-Yi has written a preface to a Chinese translation of one of Jonathan Franzen's books. So obviously I'm a big Franzen fan. That was really exciting to find out. And he quotes one line, and the book he wrote a preface for was How to Be Alone, which is one of his essay collections. So the quote that he took from that was, "Fiction meant taking up whatever the world had abandoned by the road and making something beautiful out of it." That kind of sums up The Stolen Bicycle, because it is literally about a man's search for a bicycle that was stolen from his father like 20 years ago, and like indirectly searching for his father, and then like really indirectly searching for the history of his country and you know, how he fits into it and all that. But yeah, I mean, that is it. Like literally this book is about things that were left by the side of the road and trying to find them, and you know, like metaphorically. So just reading that at the end really kind of brought it all together too. So that's it. It's gonna be really quick. Like if I try to do long reviews of all these books, I'll never get to them before the prize is awarded. So thanks for watching, and I have started Frankenstein in Baghdad, and I will be coming to you with some sort of discussion or something about Die My Love pretty soon. Bye.